The Supreme Court likely to overturn Roe versus Wade. Surgical abortions could soon become a thing in the past in Alabama.
But most abortions these days are not surgical. They're a result of prescription pills, raising the question, could they also be banned in Alabama? WDHN's Alex Valdez is looking into that and joins us now live in the newsroom. Alex?
Mike, Amanda, currently 7 states have moved to restrict access to abortion pills in recent months. And if SCOTUS moves forward with overturning Roe v. Wade, Alabama will act fast, passing laws against abortion in all forms. The use of abortion pills have been on the rise since 2000 when the FDA approved mifepristone, one of the main pills used in abortions that can be taken up to week 10 of a pregnancy and could be banned by Alabama lawmakers.
That Alabama will probably have one of the most stringent anti-abortion laws in the country because our legislature is made up of very conservative Republican.
In fact, in 2019, state lawmakers passed the Alabama Human Life Protection Act, making it a Class A felony for a doctor to perform an abortion. However, that law was blocked by a federal judge from going into effect. That law would have banned the use of prescription or any instrument, medicine, drug, or any other substance or device to terminate the pregnancy of a woman known to be pregnant. And if the Supreme Court makes a move banning abortion, Alabama has enacted bans that will go into effect almost immediately if overturned.
Well, it'll be very controversial. It'll be a lot of demonstrations on both sides, and it'll be a very controversial issue. But again, until you see what the ruling is from the Supreme Court, you don't know what's going to happen yet. People are just speculating.
Just last year, the FDA lifted a requirement that women pick up abortion pills in person, allowing women in states where abortions are banned to have consultations for the pills online or over the phone and then shipped through the mail, with even international pharmacies offering the pills. However, with a total of 19 states still requiring a doctor to be physically present when the pills are given, many speculate those states, including Alabama, will ban the pill altogether.
Until we see the opinion, you don't know where they want you to go with that thing. So it's hard to speculate.
During the past Alabama legislature session, a total of 7 different laws were proposed banning abortions in the state. However, none of them made it to the governor's desk. However, Flowers believes if the Supreme Court does ban abortions, Alabama lawmakers will indeed pass some of the strictest abortion laws in the nation.